Now it's my time to visit Stone Age, and I have been using this for more than 2 weeks, and some of the things gave me nostalgia. So let's begin. So I have been using Vortex OS 9.8.11 official build, which is based on Android 9, and I found it somewhere deep inside the lavender forest, and stock kernel for this was Genome HMP, which I replaced with latest Nexus kernel. As you can see, under system settings there is 3 extra options: button, status bar and gestures, which is similar to Lineage OS. So I guess it was based on Lineage OS back in the day. Under buttons, the tweaks are similar that we can get in some Android 11 custom rooms as well, like the long press torch, disable power menu on lock screen, playback control and others, as you can see. Then under status bar you can disable expanded quick settings, and you can enable or disable some icons from here as well. And for gestures, you can get jump to camera, swipe on home button, which is navigation gesture that was introduced with Android Pie, and you can also find swipe to screenshot. From status bar we can tweak all of the status bar related things, like we can hide notch, configure date and clock style, change icons and others. You can find some of these features in newer Android version as well. Quick settings includes the features like Bluetooth battery status, quick pull down, tile animation tweaks and brightness slider related tweaks. Under interfaces there is good old custom headers, which includes some of the headers as you can see, and you can also change dashboard icons as well as corners. Buttons includes tweaks for navigation bar like invert layout, which will swap the button, or you can enable one-handed mode, and we can find power button and volume button tweaks, which is same as we saw under buttons from system settings, but there are some extra tweaks under volume button. Under gestures we can find AOSP ones, which is stock Android gestures. Then there is edge gesture, which replicates the navigation gesture from Android 10, but it is not perfect. Then there are some extra ones that you can see. Lock screen tweaks might be the most used ones, cause the first thing that you see on any device is lock screen, and the tweaks are pretty good ones in here, like the lock screen charging info, which shows the voltage and battery temperature on lock screen while the device is charging. There is ambient music ticker, and you can also enable or disable media cover art, which shows cover art of any music on lock screen, and you can enable its filter too. You can also hide items like clock, status bar, and you can also change clock style. As you can see, there are many styles available, and you can change date and style. By the way, did I mention that you can also change fonts for date, clock and owner name? And lastly, there is music visualizer. From here we can tweak screen off animation, or we can enable on the go mode, which will allow the camera to work in background and the view will appear as overlay. I don't know why and who will use it.
I have a question for God.
Notifications includes tweak for heads up, as you can see, and then we can find some other tweaks down on bottom. This feature gave me nostalgia cause it was pretty amazing to change recent styles without any efforts. Just select Oreo or Pi, and if you select Oreo, then you can tweak it even further, like recent layout, enable or disable memory bar, clear all button, and you can even change its location. Under miscellaneous we can find some random things like smart pixels, which is dead in latest ROMs, Wacom plug, USB configuration, sensor block per package, signature spoofing and more. Under battery there is option for advanced and smart charging. From advanced we can enable battery estimate, which will show estimated time until battery runs out, and under smart charging we can stop charging at a certain percentage, and it is pretty useful cause it will help to maintain the battery health. Under display settings we can find color settings. From here we can tweak display colors, or we can enable reading mode. Then there is expanded desktop, which will hide status bar and navigation bar for selected apps. By the way, you can choose what to hide from drop down menu. Then there is system fonts, which includes tons of fonts. Also there is notch behavior, full screen apps, which will ignore the notch area for selected apps. Under ambient display we can keep it on by enabling always on or while charging. And lastly there is advanced settings, which includes some extra tweaks, and there is double tap to wake or sleep, device theme, dark theme style and color theme, also known as accent color. There are some extra tweaks available under lock screen, as you can see. Safety net doesn't pass by default, and wideband is L3, which is a bad news for rich peeps who have Netflix or any other OTT subscription. But there is a fix for safety net. Just tap that subscribe button and safety net will pass for sure. So the benchmark results really took me to the Stone Age. With stock kernel, the results is not that great as you can see. Geekbench single core score is above average and multi-core score is below average. And for CPU throttling test, the threads was at 16 and the CPU throttle down to 85%. Also the average and max score isn't that great. So let's see how will it perform with stock kernel or custom kernel. So the gaming performance with stock kernel was not that great as expected, so I used the Nexus kernel version 9.6 and the performance was okayish, as there were some very minor lags which is better than stock kernel, as stock kernel was way more laggy and I recorded gameplay at 720p 60fps. Talking about bugs, there were no bugs that I faced so far. Everything was working fine, but there was some system UI crash, and the cause of system UI crash might be EAS kernel, and this ROM is 69 years old. In terms of stability, this was a good ROM. However, occasional system UI crashes might be a problem with latest EAS kernel, as this ROM came with Genome kernel and at that time there was no support for EAS. Due to latest update of Magiska, safety net is completely dead. And I was able to spoof basic integration, but after selecting Google Pay and other banking apps from enforced deny list, those apps started to work. Weird but okay. If you're thinking to try it out, then don't wait.
So just do it!
But the only thing you will miss is Android 10 navigation gesture if you use it, otherwise it should be fine. And now I think that Android 9 gesture was pretty good, as you can easily switch between apps without going all the way down to the bottom. Customization is a lot in Vortex OS. You can watch that video by tapping on the card above, and there are no bugs too. I would recommend to try it out with some HMB kernel, but if you are a content consumer, then don't go for it, as wide one is L3. There might be some modules, but you need to root your device for that. Here are some of my other videos that you can watch and enjoy, and that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Also follow me on Instagram.